The Thursday Walkthrough is brought to you by Carle and the University of Illinois Credit Union.
Welcome back to the Thursday Walkthrough. Martin O'Donnell, joined as always by Coach Lovie Smith. And, Coach, a game against Rutgers this week, flying out to New Jersey. What's different about, what do you think is going to be different about getting on a plane, going and traveling, this year given the pandemic versus a typical year?
Well, a typical year is different, Martin, just getting on a plane. We've had one home game so far, and we bust up there. So it'll be different. And we have some young players that have never flown before. But that's a part of life. We're going to stay in the hotel like we normally do and play on that field. That's the same, dimensions as they are here. So it's not that much of a difference and on how we look at it.
Well, and Coach, sitting here, Game 4, obviously not the results we wanted the first 3 weeks, but what's the messaging to the team? I know, last year there were a couple of instances where you had some disappointing results and were able to come back and really fight the next few weeks and really wind up getting to a bowl game. What's kind of the messaging to the team this week?
The message is we can play better, and we have to correct some things before we play better. But Martin, 3 games into the season, we have a few teams that are 3-0, but it's what they do from here on, just like it is with us. It's you look at a football game and you're behind early, that doesn't necessarily dictate who's going to win the game at the end. It's how you finish. And for us, though, in order for us to finish well, we need to play better. There's some things that we have continued to do through 3 games that we have to get correct. Mental mistakes, defensively tackling better, just the discipline involved. Same thing on offensive side, certain things have just stopped drives, and eventually you got to be able to score points on offense. You got to be able to, keep them out, of course, on defense.
Well, and Coach should be getting a couple of guys back due to contact tracing and other things this week. One of those guys being Doug Kramer. How helpful is it going to be to have one of the captains back, but also playing a key position like center, allowing Kendrick Green, to move back to the position at guard? How helpful is it to be having Doug back?
Well, it helps an awful lot. As you mentioned, captain, and not just, 2-time captain. So he means a lot to our football team. And when you do as you mentioned, Kendrick Green, his normal position, he's been practicing a little bit at center through training camp, but most of his time was at guard. So to get everybody back in their right position, for us to solidify the offensive line, that helps the passing game with protection. Of course, it helps the running game. And we've seen signs, but we need to put it all together. And what better, of course, time to start than this weekend.
Well, and Coach, one of the other good stories here the past couple of weeks is Mike Epstein, being able to see him back on the field, scoring the last couple of weeks. How gratifying is it to see a guy like Mike who's fought through injuries? Last year it was Jerry Brown, really having a big impact on the team after fighting through injuries. How nice is it to see the success that Mike has had so far?
Yeah, it helps a lot. Mike is a good football player. The only thing that stopped him from really, taking center stage has been the injuries. But he's fought back from those, and he's healthy, and we're seeing the best version of Mike each week. And I say the same thing for Chase Brown. I've been pleased with Chase. The times when he's been able to carry the football, but both of our running backs have been very productive. Doug Kramer into the mix should help all of that even more.
Well, and one thing that Rutgers has done the past couple of weeks is kind of break out some trick plays, some different variations, things like that, both on special teams and on offense. When you're playing against a team that has shown that, does that become part of the messaging on defense and on special teams that everybody needs to be aware and just continue to play their disciplines?
It is, and even if they wouldn't be a team, if they weren't a team that tried a lot of trick plays and things like it, it's always about discipline. Trick plays work when you don't have discipline. So yes, we'll need to be on top of our game this week. We've talked defense, but yes, on special teams, of course, big one against Ohio State this past week, and that can be the difference, and we can't let it.
Yeah, well, certainly looking forward to kicking off against Rutgers this week. Coach, one thing that at least in the popular culture that New Jersey is known for a lot is a show called Jersey Shore. Are you more of a lake guy or are you kind of an ocean beachside guy?
Probably maybe Ocean Beach side guy, but to be truthful, Jersey Shore, I've never watched the show before. Don't know much about it. I kind of heard the name a little bit, so I'm not really that familiar with it.
Okay. Well, I figured you wouldn't be. Just, the ever-raging kind of lake ocean debate. Good to know where you fall there. The other question I have for you is, when you were a younger man, if you were going out to a nightclub, were you a middle of the dance floor kind of guy, or were you standing off to the side?
Martin, I thought you knew me a little bit better than that. I'm kind of the square. Didn't go out much when I grew up. I don't dance. I don't sing. So I was kind of no fun guy back then. So I was neither.
Okay. Well, I'm sure you could throw in a good fist pump every now and then if you had to. But Coach, appreciate your time as always, and thank you for stopping by the Thursday walkthrough.
Thank you.
The Thursday walkthrough is brought to you by Carle and the University of Illinois Credit Union. University of Illinois Credit Union, for campus and community.
Let us get to know you like we know this community, from football fields to cornfields. If you share the community spirit, come see why you and I belong together. U of I Community Credit Union, for campus and community.